Welcome to Fallopian Files, the visual podcast about all things woman for all womankind. I'm your host, Christian C. I wanted to take a little time to come back and give you guys an update on where I am in regards to the F word, fertility, and my fertility treatments. Forgive me, I have been battling some kind of mutant virus. It was not a flu, it was not COVID, but if it was the cold, it was the worst cold I have ever had in my life. It definitely took me all the way out. I was down for the count. I mean, tired, malaise, just generally feeling bad, body aches, chills, cough, congestion, sneezing. My voice was gone, 100% gone, which is crazy. So I was not able to do any recording like I was planning on doing. Also, it didn't help my voice that I was screaming for the national championship because I am a graduate of Indiana University. So I am a proud Hoosier. And seeing our football team not only have an amazing undefeated season, they also went on to become national champions, first time ever in our school's history, winning a Rose Bowl, winning the Peach Bowl, winning the national championship. It was winning the Big Ten. I mean, the amount of hollering that I was doing, definitely off the charts. And then also this week, I celebrated my 42nd birthday. So I've been just trying to get better, enjoy a little bit of time off from work, where I was gonna try to do some additional work or different things that I wanted to do, like recording. But instead, I ended up having to sit my butt down and just rest, recuperate, relax, do the best that I could do. So that's where I am. So that is why my voice sounds the way that it does. It's 98% better from where it was initially. So I was like, you know what? I got to be grateful for the small wins. I have time, I have energy. Let me get out here and do what I need to do. So I wanted to definitely give you guys an update. So where I have been so far. It's a new year, so new insurance. Actually, it's just luckily with my job, I have many different insurance companies and plans to choose from. And the company that I used, I still like their coverage. I still like what they offer. And it works really well for myself as a single woman without a family as of yet. That it ends up being the best possible cost for me, as well as the coverage is pretty wide. So I do my best to make sure that I utilize my insurance coverage as much as possible. It is coming out of your paycheck. If you're working, if you are an entrepreneur, you're paying a hefty sum to have, whatever type of premium you can find that will allow you to get as much comprehensive coverage as possible. I use my insurance. What am I paying for? Why is it coming out of my check if I'm not going to use it? So I definitely front loaded a lot of things this year. I also I didn't utilize my insurance as much as I would have liked to last year. So I ended up having to try to hit a lot of things at the back end before coverage went out. Like I got my eyes checked and got my glasses prescription updated before the end of the year. Now that we're into the new year, I'm going to go in and look at either getting an update to my contacts prescription or even considering LASIX and seeing what that would do. Would it work for me? I have astigmatism. Is that going to allow, for correction in a way that will work? I don't know. But these are all things that I try to jump in on. Definitely trying to get some dental insurance utilized. I try to use my dental insurance as much as possible. But I don't know about you. Sometimes I forget to make those 6 months appointments to see the dentist twice a year. So I definitely need to get on that. But anywho, the whole point of that me saying is that now it's a new year. My insurance coverage has restarted again for this year, so it was back to the doctor to have everything checked out to see where I am on my fertility journey. So I was able to get back in to be seen. We did repeat ultrasound. With the ultrasound, she said my uterus still looked very good. I have some very small fibroids that were in there. It's unclear whether or not those were left behind from surgery or if they have appeared now over time. But either way, she said they are very small. They're not causing any distortion to the uterus and nothing that she's concerned about. So, very happy that my uterus still looks really good. My egg count is pretty much where it was previously and definitely where it is expected to be at 42. So, things are in a decent place. She started me on different supplements that she recommends for her clients when they are in the process of starting the fertility journey or getting ready to go through the fertility journey. So I'm taking now CoQ10, selenium, vitamin D, in addition to excuse me, in addition to multivitamin, which I'm already taking a prenatal vitamin, and I think that's it in terms of medications and supplements adding in. And I was looking it up. I'm definitely going to try to see if I can get Dr. Avalime Jifa back on to talk a little bit more about some additional supplements and the medication, because I am in process now of working with the insurance and the specialty pharmacy, which will send me the medication to take when it's time to proliferate the eggs for retrieval so that they can create some embryos, hopefully, and have some options for some babies moving forward. So that is the step where I am right now, working with the insurance to make sure that I have all of the authorizations set. So that's something that if you don't frequently deal with insurance is hard to understand a little bit. So you have insurance coverage and your insurance will pay for certain things. But there are other items, and forgive me if you hear a lot of slamming and stuff in the background. I believe they're trying to do some kind of updates in my apartment building and they're just loud for no reason. So hopefully it's not picking it up, but if it is, I apologize. But yes, so you may look at your insurance coverage and you may see, okay, my insurance covers fertility treatments, but there are aspects of the fertility treatments that they need the doctor basically to contact them and say, this next step of treatment is necessary. It's not only necessary for their treatment, but it's necessary because these other things that we've tried or other medications that are out there or other procedures that are out there, whatever the case may be, is not adequate for what it is we're trying to do. So I am giving medical authorization to say that this is needed in the next step. Then the insurance company will take that information in, they'll review it in correspondence with your plan and what your plan is to cover. And if you are approved, you receive the prior authorization, which then allows the insurance company to continue paying for the rest of your treatments. So I require prior authorization for the medication, which my provider will put in, and that will allow for me to be able to get the medication. It'll come from a specialty pharmacy like CVS, and it'll be mailed to my home. And that'll be how I get that. That will also most likely be the process of what the fertility clinic will work on in terms of any procedures, especially with like the egg retrieval, things like that, that are coming up. They will work with the insurance company to make sure they know ahead of time what's covered, what's not, what needs to go through what aspects of the insurance. Um, my insurance company uses a separate, not a carrier, but it's a separate company that deals specifically with fertility coverage called Progeny. And because of that, they work with Progeny and the insurance company to make sure that they have everything together. And then that gives me a detailed breakdown of each step, what the costs are going to be, so I can prepare ahead of time and be ready for what's to come. So that the clinic is working on that on the back end. I am also still in the process of browsing for sperm. I did take a pause for a little bit, dealing with the thoughts and feelings of not having a known donor or not having a partner to have a child with, and to be able to provide that other side of their of who they are, of their life, of their journey, of their ancestry, what it takes to be them. I toyed with that a lot, and it really it took a lot out of me for a little bit. I was nervous, and really was considering, like, what will that do to my child later on? Is this something that I really want to do? And it took a lot, but I was able to get myself to a place where I definitely am solid in my decision. I know it's a selfish decision because it's what I want. Um, but I'm at a place now where I'm okay with that. I am okay with providing as much information as I can. So I've had the ultrasounds done to show where my uterus is in terms of health. And I've also had the ability to have my hormones checked to make sure where my egg reserves are. I've been working with the insurance company to get all the prior authorizations. And the next step now is procuring some sperm. So where I am with that, I know I had discussed with you all before where I had taken a pause with starting the journey of trying to find my mic died. Okay. And we're back. 1, 2. So I know where I left off before I was having some technical difficulties. I was discussing how basically I was able to see my reproductive endocrinologist again, starting at the new year with the new insurance as we all get. I've been getting my prior authorizations for the medication, which should be shipped to me, as well as working through getting my ultrasounds to make sure that my uterus was still healthy. Like I was saying before, they did find some small fibroids, but nothing that should impact my ability to get pregnant. So that is a blessing. And now I'm at the place of trying to get the sperm still, which I need to get done before my next appointment, which is at the end of February, to have my eggs harvested. So I'm a little nervous. I was discussing with my doctor the fact that I know I do want to have a Black child. As I'm African American, I want my child to have their African ancestry as well. And so looking for a Black donor can be difficult. She expressed that she has heard many a time how trying to find a Black donor is difficult on these registries. For some reason, many of our Black men are not donating to sperm banks. And so there just isn't a large number. So trying to go through and look through and find, it's essentially like finding the partner you're looking for that you would have thought you would have wanted to have children with, except for you don't know them, you don't know their family, you don't know their history. All you know is what was put down on the page. You're reading and you're doing your best to try to find who's going to make up that other half of your child's genetic material. It is mind-blowing. It definitely takes me through a loop, but I'm prepared for it. I took a little step back, as I said before, to really contemplate what that means, choosing to have a child on my own. I grew up in a 2-parent household, but my father that I grew up with is not my biological father, and he is still around. We are growing our relationship, my biological father and I, which did come a little bit later in life, like my 30s and definitely now in my 40s. So finding a way to connect all of the dots of who you are as a person, your ancestral connection, your ethnic heritage, especially being African American, where so much of our ethnic heritage, was erased so that we wouldn't be seen as people, so that we could be treated and looked upon as chattel. It means a lot to me, finding who will make up that other part of my child, and understanding what comes with that process of learning and growing and becoming comfortable with who you are and what all of those parts of you means. I know that I am going to be bringing a child into the world who will have to do that digging on their own as much as I would like to provide, and I will do my best to learn about the background of the donor so that I can learn about that history and to be able to pass that knowledge on to my child about what has helped to make them who they are. There still is only so much that you can do. A lot has to be done on the individual, their own personal work. And I know that from my own experience. So I want to be very cognizant of that, understanding that there are not a large number of Black donors. So what will that mean if I can't find a donor that I find suitable who is Black? Would I consider other ethnicities? And if so, what does that entail? Thinking about cultural, historical facts about different cultures and ethnicities. How do they relate to Blackness? How do they interact with Black people from around the world is going to make a huge impact on who I choose to be the donor for my child. I don't want to set my child up to be a part. Sorry, that's my dog deciding he wants to be on here as well. But I don't want to set my child up to be a part of another culture which does not consider them equal or human. I don't want that. So choosing the ethnicity of that donor is big. It weighs on me heavily, which I think is also partially why I have not jumped into purchasing this sperm very quickly. But I'm running out of time and I need to find the donor. So I need to look. I need to research I need to read and determine what that's going to be. But yeah, my preference is to have a Black child. So I'm going to be looking for Black donors, and then I'll go from there. So as much as I'm able to show you on that process, I will. Throughout this episode, if you are watching on YouTube, you'll see some clips here and there of me going to the doctor, seeing the setup of the room, looking at some of the supplements that they had me purchase for helping to boost my egg strength and quality before this process. So I definitely wanted to try to capture some of that to share with you all. There's only so much I can because you're not allowed to photograph or videotape within the clinic itself. So some things I did have to try to quickly, just so that you could kind of see what the setup of a room would look like if you haven't been in these types of spaces. But yes, I'm going to do my best to bring that to you all. And if you're listening to this and you're listening to the audio version and you want to see some of that, please come on over to YouTube where you can see the whole visual and be able to follow along on this journey. But outside of that, that's kind of where I am. The biggest hurdles now. Once I choose a donor, so let me tell you the steps that happen after that. So once I choose a donor, I then have to get a copy of their genetic record, the genetic record that they go through, because all of the sperm has to undergo testing as well. That information will be sent to my clinic so that they can compare and contrast my genetic report versus the donor's genetic report. This is important because if there happens to be anything that, let's say, I am genetically a carrier of, they want to make sure that that donor also does not have similar genes carrying for similar things, because you want to do your best to give the embryo the chance to have the most success possible. And the more that you can avoid genetic, I don't want to say imperfections because we're all imperfect, but the way you can, if you can avoid putting yourself in a situation where there's a high probability that your child could receive certain genetic traits that could be detrimental to their health, then you're going to do what you can to try to minimize that risk. So they compare the genetic records. If everything looks like it matches up and would be compatible, then we have some vials of the sperm shipped to the facility so that once it's time for me to go in to have the eggs retrieved, then they can immediately begin the process of trying to get the eggs and the sperm together to create the embryo. So once I receive the medication from the pharmacy, I will show that to you all. Like I said, I'll do my best to try to have another episode with Dr. Avalime so that she can kind of talk us through what these medications are and what they do. I'll show you a little bit of how they're used on myself. And then from there, we set up, like I said, for the egg retrieval. Now, the egg retrieval is a process, and I'll have a little clip here to show you all as well, where you are put to sleep because it is a minimally invasive procedure. They will put you to sleep, and then you will be in an operating room type of setting, in stirrups, because they do have to take a vaginal approach. They will go through the vagina with a very large needle that goes through the wall of the uterus, out of the other side to the ovary, where it will then collect the eggs that have proliferated with you taking the medication. They'll take those fresh eggs and they will go through different phases of testing to make sure the eggs are genetically sound, that they are healthy and able to be utilized to put together with the sperm. Then they will do fertilization. So there's 2 different types of fertilization they could do, depending on the quality and how much the sperm are swimming, then they can put the egg in basically in like a dish with the sperm and let them naturally see which one's able to go in and create an embryo. If it comes that they're not having much success with that, there is a way that they could take a sperm with a needle and physically put it into the egg itself to create fertilization that way, which is a much more in-depth, hands-on procedure. So whichever way, the goal is to be able to get a few healthy embryo that then also will undergo their genetic testing to make sure that they are genetically sound. Even after all the pre-testing that we've done, you then need to test the embryo and make sure the embryo doesn't have any genetic malformations that could potentially result in a miscarriage or in that pregnancy not continuing through all the way through fruition. And then once you have some sound embryos that are healthy, then you go through the process within another month or two of doing the implantation. And then you cross your fingers that you've created a healthy enough environment that the embryo will take and begin to develop into a fetus and a baby later on. So that's the journey. That's where I am in the journey. That is what I'm hopeful to happen. And like I said, I'm going to bring you guys along for the entire ride. I can't wait. I am nervous a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I think it would be silly for me to not be honest about that. I am a little nervous, but I am looking forward to it. And prayerfully so, I hope that I do end up with a beautiful, bouncing baby that, you know, I'm able to have a healthy pregnancy and delivery. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again, because I do want to have at least 2 children if I can. That is my goal. So got to get started, you know, got to get out there and keep it moving. So I hope you guys are ready to see it. You know, everything moves fast. It is a hurry up and wait kind of situation. Yeah, it's moving. Time waits for no one. So that's where I am. And I am so grateful that you all are on this journey with me. Also, other updates. I think I told you all before, definitely is important to keep a tight glycemic control, blood sugar control when you are in the process of trying to do fertility treatments. So you can't see it now because I'm in a long sleeve, but I do have now a continuous glucose monitor so that I can keep tight watch over my blood sugar to make sure that I'm constantly staying in a healthy range for the continuing of hopefully a pregnancy down the line. So that is something that I have started. And then also still, we've discussed in other episodes, we talked about the issue with my thyroid enlarging. Not that my hormones are still at a good level. There's no issue with my thyroid hormones, but there are still parts of the thyroid that are growing and enlarged. And so I do have a meeting coming up soon with a surgeon to discuss what those options will be and how that could potentially impact my fertility and fertility treatment. So whether or not I need to wait until after pregnancy to address it, or if it's something that I can address ahead of time. So I'll definitely keep you all updated because these are very pertinent things related to the fertility journey. And I want to share that with you so that if any of you are looking to try to get pregnant and say you don't even know what your blood sugar history is like, your A1C, you've never had it checked, that's something important to meet with a primary care provider to get that information. And then also outside of the blood sugar, also making sure that your thyroid hormones are in a good place, because that also greatly impacts your fertility. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to continue to share with you all this journey, and I am looking forward to continuing with every step of it. And yeah, I'd love to hear where you all are, if you're on the fertility journey as well, if you've dealt with some of these things, like purchasing sperm, choosing to go with a known donor versus an anonymous donor, or if you've chosen to have children with someone and co-parent. I want to hear about all of this. All of our stories are real. All of our stories are important and honest and true. And there definitely are things that, can make you feel discouraged and disgruntled. Like maybe you're the only one going through it and everybody else is going through more of a picture perfect, ideal, version of family planning. And I want to make sure that we all know that we are not alone. Each of our journeys, though it is unique and individual, are still a part of the collective. And there is someone out there going through what you're going through, or at least similarly enough that you can find some information and camaraderie and community within that. So I really hope that you all are enjoying these videos. I try to make them as informative as possible while also updating you. Please, in the comments, let me know what's going on with you. What types of things are you dealing with in your fertility journey? Or if you're not going through a fertility journey, but you're learning something from it, anything, I just want to hear from you all. I really want us to grow this community with the Fallopian Files. So remember that the visual version of this show is available on YouTube, where you can watch the show in its entirety. The audio version is available wherever you get your podcasts. So we are on Apple, we are on Spotify, we are on Amazon, you name it, we're there. And then also you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook for the Fallopian Files, where you can find clips of information. If you're not able to sit down and take in a full episode, then sometimes we do have some of the pertinent clips put on the social media. So please continue to like, follow, subscribe, growing this community, sharing the videos with people who you think can benefit from this knowledge, and start the conversation. Remember that these videos are not a substitute for having a wonderful PCP, gynecologist, endocrinologist, insert specialty here. You need to have a relationship with a good doctor. We as a people, specifically thinking about, my people as African American, we have a sordid history with medicine and science, especially in this country, with unwanted experimentation. So trust can be few and far between at times, but understanding that a lot of research and information, because we were able to take control and thus were able to take a big step back, a lot of this research is not done on people like us. So a lot of the information we're receiving is not geared towards our bodies. So there is something to be said for continuing to be in conversation and community with each other, and also connected to science and medicine as well. We are needed there so that our stories can be told and so that the treatments can be geared towards us as well. So please go see your doctor, go see your dentist, go see your optometrist, your ophthalmologist, like everything, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Please go be seen. And hopefully these videos will give you a good starting point where you can start a good conversation to find out about your individual health and what you can do for yourself. But please, like I said, continue to talk, commune, build community, share with each other. If there's information you want me to know, if you have clarifying information, something I missed, there's no part of us that can't grow and learn. So please continue. I look forward to seeing you more throughout this year. as we continue to grow the Fallopian Files. And I look forward to seeing and hearing from each of you in the weeks to come. Have a wonderful, happy, amazing new year. I know we're almost to February now, but since this is my first time seeing you in a while, I'm going to say Happy New Year. And I pray right now while I'm in my season of Aquarius that we all are able to manifest exactly what we need and continue to grow and heal and learn and love. Until next time.